So exciting.
Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. As you come on in, I would love to see your wonderful faces. I'm glad you're coming off the no video. You can stay muted if you'd like. We've got lots of things that are going to be happening, but would love for you to be safe. If you can't get on video, that is okay.
Oh,
Just
this is so exciting.
get you all in here.
Amazing.
Really quick, we have dinner in the background happening, so I'm going to mute and turn off the camera, but I am listening.
Not a problem.
That is expected.
Same with
However,
me. I'm multitasking, but I'm listening as well.
Yes. We
Better
appreciate
than
everyone
me.
who can multitask.
Absolutely the
Perfect.
same boat here.
I think everybody is. Right?
We're
That
at a
is the
baseball game.
expectation that you made it to this call, and that is more than enough. Anything you need to do alongside that is correct.
I'm listening.
Right? Like, amazing that you made it. If you can't do video, that makes sense. If you can, mwah, we love that too. You know?
We're at a baseball game.
All right.
Okay. You're
Go
making
Bucks.
me jealous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go sports. Go baseball.
Okay.
Home run. Let's go. We are recording today's session, so I just want to welcome you all to the Parent Readiness Night for Summer 2025. My name is Ruthie. I am the Assistant Camp Director of Camper Care and Inclusion, or Head of Camper Care, as my title says, and I have some really wonderful, amazing people with me as well. I've got Amanda Grazel, who is our Camp Director.
Yeah,
I
Cam.
have Sherry Kate, who is our office manager and who many of you have most likely emailed or maybe talked to on the phone. And we also have Zach Snyder, who is our MESH professional, and MESH stands for mental, emotional, social, spiritual health. Big mouthful, but full of wonderful things that we offer here at camp. And so we're going to get into it. As we know, it is starting to get later in the evening. We've got dinner going on and late night activities that I'm sure are going to be starting, and also needing to get to bed. So I'm going to turn it over to Zach Snyder. So we're going to start with a little mentee.
So disclaimer, a mentee, hopefully everybody has done this before. I'm gonna show you a link. You're gonna go to mentee.com and type in the link. And then we're gonna do some live polling together. And if that's way too much, you can vote in chat, that's okay. Or you can ignore this part altogether. But my hope is that we do that. So I'm gonna share my screen, so good, wish me luck, everybody. Okay, here we go. Okay, can everybody see that?
Perfect.
Okay, but here we go. Okay, so everybody, if you could now take the time to look at the top of the screen where it says, it should say, please join mentee.com. And once you get there, you're gonna type in that code, which maybe one of us can plop in chat. I don't know. Like the number is 6.
I'm on it.
Sherry is so good. Thank you, Sherry. 61396096. I feel like that was like poetry. Okay, we're moving on. Agenda. We'll come back to that maybe. Wow, it's so beautiful. What are some important things that you get at camp? You have 3 options. I think in this one, this is how we start. You can choose any of them or all of them. I don't know. We'll find out together. We have 1 for lifelong friendships. Absolutely. We have 2 for lifelong friendships. Yeah, we all know that like camp is one of the best ways to ensure that we have a vote for adventure. Beautiful. That is so right on. Okay, Lifelong Adventure is taking the lead, sweeping us away. We'll give a couple more moments for people to vote. Adventure! Yeah, we're going to talk about later on how moving through difficult things is part of adventure and how it supports positive youth development, which is my favorite subject. Oh, we have another vote. Okay, I'm giving this actually just 5 more seconds. And then we're going to move on to the next one. Is everybody cool with that? Oh, never mind. Oh, identity reinforcement. Whoa! There is a ton of research coming out now from the Foundation for Jewish Camping and others, where summer camp is actually the best place for Jewish identity building over a lifetime. Pretty neat. I put all of these things up here because I think they're like the most important things. I could be wrong. We'll talk about that. Okay, next. Who is more anxious about going to camp this summer? You or your kiddos? Honest answer, no judgment, it's anonymous. Go. This is interesting. Yeah, we're seeing that parents, actually, there is some anxiety. Kiddos are also anxious. Any new thing can cause anxiety, and that's our body working, right? That is how we know our body works. And anxiety is there to help us. Okay, great. We're moving on. Thanks everybody for participating. I really appreciate it. This one is kind of cool. You get to type in what, I don't know if everybody can see that, my views. It's what are a few concerns you have about sending your kiddo to camp this summer? What's worrying? This one takes a little bit of time as people are typing in. Homesickness. Yeah, your kiddo might worry about home and worry about you. And homesickness just reinforces that you're amazing parents and they love being with you, right? Bathroom. Don't worry, we have bathrooms at camp. Not just kidding. That's real. That's something that we practice. Eating, right? Like, is our food going to work for your kiddo? I think Ruthie will talk about that. Shabbat, what will that look like? May it be different? Yeah, homesickness. Yeah, thank you so much for participating. Yeah, homesickness. Kiddo one, like maybe had some troubles in the past. How can they move through that maybe for this summer? Or how may it affect the second kiddo? Do you try again? What's that like? There's some bravery there, right? Yeah, thanks y'all. I really appreciate your participation. If you did not get a chance to enter anything, don't worry. We have a Q&A at the end. And in fact, let's go back to the agenda for a second, and then I'll hand it back to Ruthie. Welcome, check, we did that. Menti questions, check, we did that. Ruthie's next. I'm after Ruthie. Our camp director, Amanda, is after that. And the communication parent, amazing person, Sherry, is after that. And then we do some Q&A. Enough of my voice. Ruthie, please take it away.
Well, welcome again, everyone. So excited. One of my favorite things to always talk about is camp, as it's camp. We love camp and everything that camp has to offer. So we're going to talk about a lot of things today. One of the things I want to start with is communication and how communication works at camp, because I am assuming that you all want to hear from your kids and know how they're doing at camp. And so one of the wonderful things that we have is we have this app, which is through your Camp in Touch account called Campanion. And this is where you can see pictures that we take of your kids. We take pictures daily and we upload them daily. Your kid may not be in every single photo or be uploaded every day. If your kid is not really big into getting their picture taken, you might have to be looking for like an elbow or a knee or a shoe and playing a little hide and go seek, where's Waldo kind of game. But if you've got a kid who absolutely loves to be in front of the camera, you will most likely see lots and lots of photos of them, and probably a lot in our weekly recap video that we do every day after Havdalah. Also within Companion is our e-letter communication system. This is where you can write a letter, which is just like writing an email. It then is sent to us. We print them out. Sherry puts them in your camper's correct mailbox, and then they get it during menucha, which is our rest time. With this, if you purchase this is an additional purchase that you have to do through CampMinder. It is not through us at all, but you can purchase, I think it's like $10 for 15 blank pieces of paper. I could be wrong with that price amount. But with that, you can select before you send your email that you want to send a blank page, and your camper will have a blank page where they can so choose to write to you if they want to. Unfortunately, we don't want to force our kids to write if they don't want to. We do have them write 2 times to you to make sure that you do hear from them, which is the first day of camp. We do a first day Mad Libs for them to just give you a little brief information of what's going on in their cabins. And we also do a Friday Shabbat Mad Lib, so you can hear about all of the amazing things that they have done during the week. So you can always count on those 2 communication pieces. Other than that, they may write to you, they may not. But if you want to know what's going on with your kid, you can always give us a call and we can give you a quick recap of where they are. But I always try and think of it as no news is good news. It means they're having too much fun to write home, which is absolutely okay. I wanted to play you the song Hello Mudda, Hello Father, Camp Granada by Alan Sherman. So if you want to look up that song and listen to it, it is on Spotify. It is a wonderful representation of what a typical letter could look like from your camper who's coming to camp for the first time.
Before we get there, Ruthie, I'm wondering, can people give a thumbs up if they've listened to that song before? Or acknowledge it in some way. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of people know that song. This was a brilliant idea by Ruthie. Yeah. Does everybody know the arc of it? Ruthie, can you just do like a 1 to 2 second arc of like what happens in it? I'm sorry if you were about to do that already.
Yes, absolutely. This song talks about a camper who's going to camp for the first time. He's in a cabin with all these people. It's raining. Somebody got lost in the woods. Somebody's got poison ivy, and someone had...
Neither of which happened at our camp, just so you know.
Yeah. And then as it goes through it, he says, well, it stopped raining, it stopped hailing, and now I'm going to go play. You can disregard this letter. He does it much better than I do, but that's a lot of the way a lot of our kids' emotions feel when they get to camp. When we're in this space together, they're in a cabin with 8 to at least maybe 14 other campers. So they're in a new space, they're in a new environment. All of these new things are happening all at once. And at camp, when our emotions are already high, they become extra high and big, and we feel them really, really big, which is a great thing. But then sometimes when we have those big emotions, we have those quick reactions, and they'll write you a letter home really, really fast because I'm upset in this moment. And then once we get the letter and it's sent home to you, they no longer have those feelings anymore. So always take any letters that you receive home with a little bit of a grain of salt, but please, if there's anything in any of the letters that feel concerning, please contact us and we will follow up and see what was going on and get back to you. Zach?
That's my name.
Yes.
Wonderful people. One thing that Ruthie mentioned there was your kids will have counselors. Amazing, right? One thing that you may not know is that we do some pretty extensive training with them, staff training, in the year and also before campers arrive. So they're coming prepared. And there's at least 2 counselors for each cabin. And we really care about ratios, just like in schools, but thankfully this isn't school. So we can do a lot with that, right? Just wanted to make sure we said that your kids will be in a cabin with support too.
Yes.
Right, Ruthie?
Yes, they will have a counselor.
Yeah, more than one even. 2, maybe even sometimes 3 counselors. That's pretty common even at camp. One thing I want to just reinforce with what Ruthie said is, okay, you will probably get some letters or not, but when we zoom out a little bit, what's really important to remember is why we send our kids to camp and what you're getting for it. We talked about that lifelong friendship potential. We talked about adventure. There's so much there, but importantly, there will be distress. There will be sort of what we think of as like these negative emotions that your kids will go through. And maybe have a lot of practice going through those emotions at home, right? But this is a totally new environment. So anxiety is going to happen, especially as Ruthie rightly pointed out, is on the first, second day of camp. And the most important thing with like homesickness or distress is that they know that they have support to help them move through it. And there is so much research out there that supports this idea of actually not avoiding what's worrying you, but moving through it with support will benefit you in a way that will help you throughout a lifetime. We like to talk about that in the mental health game as like positive youth development, or at least the perspective. There's a perspective called positive youth development, whatever. Google it if you want. Anyways, it is key for child development, and camp is the best place for kiddos to go because they get to practice these skills without their parents and still with support, right? How cool is that? There was very little places where kiddos have access to practice the skills that they need to develop and grow in such a dramatic, important way outside of overnight summer camp. And Camp Salmon Schechter is my favorite example of that. I'm going to stop there. Any questions? Wait, are we doing questions right now?
We'll wait for some questions just for a
We're
little.
not doing questions. So if you have questions, good job, and keep them in your pocket or type them in chat, please.
Yes. I will also add with homesickness that it does tend to last for the first 72 hours of camp, which is why those first few day letters might feel a little bit more elevated than once you get later, once they've adjusted, they've made some more connections in their cabin and really gotten into the schedule of camp. I also just wanted to make a quick note about more communication is, well, yes, we also have our the e-letters. We also accept snail mail, but we do not accept any packages at camp. If there are any birthdays that we have, we take care of all birthdays at camp. They get cupcakes for their cabin. Myself and the rest of the camper care team, we create a goodie bag for them and give their counselor supplies to decorate their cabin. And if they so want to, they can jump in the lake after lunch. And it is normally a big production, but they do not have to. If they don't want any acknowledgement, they don't have to have it. But if they want to skip around the room, that is also an option for them as well. Next, I want to move on to another topic, which is transportation to camp. We will be sending out in the next couple of weeks wonderful emails about camp and getting ready and how to get to camp. And transportation is one of the most amazing things that we have. And we are strongly encouraging all of our campers to take buses to camp. And this is also for some areas for our rookie campers as well. Camp starts on the bus. We have staff members on the bus. Your campers get to meet potentially their new cabin mates and other kids that they'll be in their hoogs or course in. But we are.
Hoops mean activities.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry if I didn't say that. I thought I did.
That's good. That's my
Yes.
job.
Extra
support.
activities. If you live close by to camp, you do not have to drive, or sorry, you do not have to take a bus, but you can drive. But if we're asking if you live anywhere else, is to put those kids on the bus. And if you have any questions or anything comes up with that, you can email Amanda, the camp director, and we will also add everyone's email at the end so you know who to appropriately email for everything. That is transportation. We love our buses. We'll also be giving out luggage tags for you to tag your campers' bags with their first and last name, how they're getting to camp, and then how they're also getting home so that we can make sure all of their luggage gets to the appropriate place. I am going to now, we really like to do this at camp. We like to throw things. So I'm going to throw it over to Amanda, who is going to talk to us about medication.
Thank you, Ruthie. Hi, everybody. So good to be here with all of you. I'm going to talk about medication. I also just want to clarify a few transportation things. We provide busing from Seattle/Mercer Island, from the Richmond, Vancouver area, and from Portland. If you live in any of those cities and there is a bus offered, the expectation is the camper is taking the bus. We have found that this helps with homesickness. This helps them get into the camp spirit and get into the camp mood. If you have an extenuating circumstance where you cannot take the bus and you live in one of those cities, email me. I will share that for our rookie 1 week session, we do have, we don't have enough Canadian campers for those sessions to offer a bus. But if folks need help with carpools, we will help you organize that. And we will be mailing you the luggage tags, and all bags coming to camp need to be tagged with these tags. They are color coded, so we know exactly where on camp your kid's bag goes. They are color coded, so we know how your kid is getting home. It makes it so much easier for us. If you lose a tag, it happens. We will have extra tags at all the bus stops. So just to clarify, if you live in Tacoma, Olympia, there is no bus. The expectation is you'll drive your camper to camp. All other cities, we're getting on the bus. And now, medication. We are so excited to be partnering with a company called Camp Meds this year. Camp Meds is a nationwide partner to overnight camps. There are camps that have been using Camp Meds for tens of years. And what Camp Meds does is they take your camper's prescription, they work with your insurance, and they bubble pack the medication. So for those who don't know what bubble packing is, you know when you buy like NyQuil, DayQuil cold meds and it comes in that little metal thing and you just pop out the meds? That is bubble packing, and it's so important that the campers' meds are bubble packed. Thank you to the people who gave me little thumbs up. It's so important that the campers' meds are bubble packed. It helps keep the meds in proper dosage, packaged correctly, away from the other kids' meds. It helps us keep everything organized and safe. And most pharmacies in the US do not bubble pack. So if you are a US family and you do not have Kaiser as your insurance, you are going to register on the Camp Meds website. There is a fee for the bubble packing. You upload your prescription. They don't fill it right now. So if you're like, but I'm not up for a refill yet, it's fine. When the time comes, they will fill it. They will bubble pack, and then they will mail the medication to camp. and we will have all your campers' meds well before they get there. And if there's anything funky or that feels off, that gives us the opportunity to call you. If you have Kaiser, you are going to email me, and we are working with the pharmacy department in Kaiser, and they will bubble pack your meds. And we will have more on that process soon. If you are Canadian, most Canadian pharmacies will bubble pack meds if you ask them to. So just please, when you're getting your kids' meds for camp, do that, and we will collect those meds at the bus. We are really excited to, Don, I saw a post about this. Not all pharmacies are in network with all non-Kaiser. So Camp Meds works with all insurance companies with the exception of Kaiser. And we have clarified this with them. And so the Kaiser bit is specifically Kaiser folks can't fill meds at non-Kaiser pharmacies. And so we're handling that. That is Camp Meds. It allows us to keep your kids safe and for medication to move smoothly. A few other things on medication. If your kid has an EpiPen or a nasal spray or like eardrops, those you should just send to camp. You don't need to use Camp Meds for that. Camp Meds is specifically for pills. 2, Camp Meds doesn't do gummy vitamins, and camp doesn't accept gummy vitamins. It's hot, they get sticky, things melt. If your kids take over-the-counter vitamins or things of that nature, we actually need a doctor's note for those. And that will also be in the parent handbook, which will be sent out shortly. And finally, if your kid takes melatonin, camp will provide melatonin. You just need to tell us the dosage, and we will provide the melatonin. And our camper care team are going to be our lovely melatonin fairies over the summer and come into every camper's bunk who takes melatonin and sprinkle, yes, I know that's not how melatonin works, the melatonin so that we all sleep so wonderfully. If you have any other questions, you can email me, you can email Sherry, you can also reach out to Camp Meds directly, and I'll put that contact info in the chat. They are wonderful. And also I will add, because I've heard this from other families, that kiddos that take ADHD meds, there's a little bit of a shortage. Camp Meds knows this, and they've been working on it since camp ended last summer. So like, they will be able to get your kids meds, and if on the off chance they are not able to, they will know well in advance. And that's Camp Meds.
Amanda, may I jump in with one more thing, please?
Please.
You have forms that need to be filled out, and one of those forms is the health history. All the medication needs to be listed on that health history, including the dosage and when they take it. Your accuracy helps us tremendously and saves us from having to call you at 10, 11 o'clock at night that first night to make sure we're doing everything correctly. The safety of your kids comes first.
Okay, I'm jumping in now too. That was so much good information. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Amanda. I learned things. Ruthie, did you learn things there?
I learn things every single day, every second of the day.
You're like, Zach, I know this. I work there every day. One thing that came up is around medication. If a kiddo takes medication during the year, it is typical that they continue taking that medication at camp too. As the mental health guy, I'm happy to have conversations with any of you who have concerns about maybe a specific kind of medication or a doctor. Like, there's always reasons not to do that, but in general, it really just makes sense to keep practicing that. We're gonna come back to practicing, but we can talk about that more. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yes, we want your kids on their meds so they can be their absolute best self. I've learned that, we take our brains everywhere with us. And if we take medication while we're at school, our brains are on those medication. And so we take our brains also to camp. And we also want those same brains on the medication at camp so that they can have the best time. They can make amazing connections with people and be focusing and learning. There are so many things that happen at camp all at once. We just want everyone to feel like they can be present and fully there. We've gone through a lot so far, so I do want to take a quick moment just to pause over anything we've covered. I do still have a few more things to go over. We're going to dive a little more into actual camp, but are there any questions right now that any of us can answer for anyone? Amazing. I'm going to move on. We're going to talk about camp and the camp schedule. So I'm gonna break it down as we have 4 amazing ADAs or units that we have at camp. We have our Garni, which is for our much younger kids who are in 1st through 3rd grade. And then we have Shorashim, which are our 4th through 5th grade, Nitzanim, 6th through 7th, and then Anafim, which is 8th through 10th, and then Oded, which is our 11th graders. And these are all rising into. Camp is all about rising. What's the grade you're going into? So we're going to start from our morning at camp. And these are wonderful things as camp continues to get closer and closer to start practicing with your kids so that they are the most prepared for camp as they can be. Camp starts at 8 a.m. That is when wake up happens and everyone gets up. And if they want to get dressed for the day, they can. If they want to stay in their pajamas, they can. But that's when everyone wakes up, 8 o'clock. And then we make our way down to Degel, which is flag. And right before flag, if you have a camper who takes medication, they'll stop by the dispensary and get their meds while everyone else goes down and they do flag together. We sing our Canadian anthem, the national anthem, and the Israeli national anthem. Every so often we do sing the UK national anthem, as we do have some UK staff that join us. We have a lot of fun with them during the 4th of July. It is a great day. Then we go to breakfast, where we have an amazing kitchen that is full of lots of different options. We've got 3 kitchens because we are completely kosher. We've got a dairy kitchen, a meat kitchen, and a parv kitchen. And if you have a kid that has a food allergy, we make sure that the kitchen knows, and that if they're gluten-free, we have a full section just for anyone who's gluten-free so they are not getting contaminated with any other food that might have gluten in it. We make food for our vegetarians, our vegans, our pescatarians. We've always got food for everybody. And at the end of the day, if a sun butter and jelly sandwich is what they want to eat, we will give your kid a sun butter and jelly sandwich. We've got veggies at every meal, except for breakfast is more for fruits. But during lunches, we always have a salad bar for kids to make a salad, have carrots. We're always going to be pushing them to try new things and try new foods, even if they don't like it. We say, we just want you to try it, and then you don't have to eat it again if you don't like it.
I'm going to pause us there.
Please.
If that's cool with you.
Yes.
Y'all were Jewish. Food is a thing with us in so many different ways. It's tied into our tradition and also anxiety, right? Like, let's be honest, like anxiety moves through our system. Ruthie just told us we have this ginormous kosher kitchen. Our chef is wonderful and is so excited to provide meals that make sense for your kiddos, right? And for me, and for Amanda, and Ruthie, and Chef. There's a lot to cover, and we do it gluten-free, allergies, dairy-free. At every meal, there's something. So is the food like home? No. Maybe some, I don't know, maybe. And also, there will always be options, and there will always be camper care team and their counselors as support moving through it. And we will partner with you if we notice some trends that are moving the needle in a way that like maybe is not optimal, right? We will partner. Thanks, Ruthie.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you. Beautiful tip. So after breakfast, everyone goes back to their cabin and they work together to do nikayon, which means cleaning of the cabin. And I and my team get to grade everyone's cabin. And we love to see the cleanliness of everyone's cabin because the cleanliness at camp is very important to keep not only yourself safe, but everyone in your cabin safe as well. So we have them working on things like making their bed, taking the trash out, making sure that the bathroom is nice and neat, that your clothes are all put away in your cubbies. And we focus on that to make sure that the cabin is staying really healthy, because that is one of the most important things, that your kid is healthy here at camp. And they get an extra shekel. It's not real, a fake shekel to use at canteen, which is later in the day. And then they go off into their activities of amazing day. They are going to learn so many things more about their Judaism. They're going to do challenge course, which could be the giant swing, or maybe the zip line, or one of our low ropes elements. Or they're going to go to arts and craft and learn how to needlepoint, or they're going to paint. Maybe they want to act and they'll be in the musical. We've got sports and we've got nature where they could learn how to make a one match fire through our nature program. And also, I'm missing one.
Wait, did everybody hear that? That's nuts what you just said. We have a guy at camp named Josh Lake. His real name is Josh Lake, and he's in charge of our nature or TEBA program. One, wild, literally wild. How did we find him? He hosts a challenge for a part of his hugim or his activities where kids get to the stage where they can light a fire in a controlled environment, right? We're building skills with one match. These are the skills. Okay, is it sort of a skill that may not come in handy? Sure, but this is just one of many skills that you get and practice at camp. Wild. Thanks, Ruthie.
Yes. Amanda.
I was just going to say, because you said, what am I forgetting? Eugenics.
I said Judaics.
Oh, you didn't
Maybe I
hear it.
didn't,
Okay.
but Judaics. But also, I remembered our lake. We have an amazing lake that has Clark, our aqua park, which every kid absolutely loves, and is every single kid is required to wear a life jacket, no matter if they can swim well or not. Everyone must wear a life jacket. And we swim test all of our kids on the first day of camp. And in certain areas of our lake, they don't have to wear a life jacket, but if they want to go to like farther than the first dock, even if they're a great swimmer, they need to wear a life jacket. But anywhere in our shallow area or sitting on our beach, they don't need to wear a life jacket. But we make sure everyone is safe and is completely guarded by all the lifeguards on the lake. If they're in a boat or in a canoe, a paddleboarding, also have to wear a life jacket. We go through our whole day with doing lots of different rotations, meeting lots of people, eating lots of new food, and then it becomes evening program, which is a lot of these kids' most amazing part of the day, or maybe they're doing a paint fight, or maybe we do this amazing program called Stocks and Shares. Your kids will learn about stocks and shares, which is amazing. And like maybe we do a thing called casino night where the kids will get to have fun, they get dressed up, they have so much fun and different activities every single night for them to try and have fun. Zach just shared our
Credit goes to Sherry Kate. She found it. And sorry, continue.
No, I was just going to say you shared a very sample schedule of what the day looks like if you also want to take another look of all of the different games, electives that we have at camp, and all of our different cores and things of the schedule. After evening program, we have everybody wind down, making sure they take their bedtime meds if they take bedtime meds, and then they go into their cabins and they go to sleep. Where, like I said, maybe those first few nights might be a little difficult, but that's why we have the counselors in the cabin who are there to comfort your kid and talk with them about any feelings that they're having. If they need to have their back rubbed for a little bit, they will do that. If they just want to hug, if they just want to sit in their bed and read their book, they are more than welcome to do that.
I'm doing it again. Ruthie, I'm so
Yes,
sorry. I
no,
just feel like this is
thanks.
really important.
Yes.
One of the ways that we move through that is by building cabin rituals, right? Obviously you have these beautiful rituals that you have at home. We build cabin specific rituals, and that's something that I do specific training on with each counselor to build age appropriate cabin rituals that fosters better sleep environments and ability to really bond at the same time. And there's some best practices I do for that for the Foundation of Jewish Camp, and through research and through my own lived experience as a camper, counselor, director. Anyways, it really importantly, it is not just counselors like, okay, lights off, but it's story building, it's roses and buds. Like, what is something that went well? What is something that you're looking forward to? It's beyond that. Like, each one is challenged. Each counselor is challenged to create the best fitting cabin ritual, bedtime ritual for them, which I think is really cool and pivotal, because you have those at home. You should have camp ones too.
Yes, absolutely. So just a really quick recap of the schedule and things to practice at home. And I also realized I didn't say the bedtime that we go to bed. We very much try to get our younger kids into bed around like 9:30. Our older kids tend to go to bed around like 10:30. If we find that any of our younger kids are like, I can't make it through evening program, we will have those kids that are tired go back to the cabin and they can go to sleep with their counselor. But that's why we want you to start working on the times with your kids, waking them up at 8 o'clock and helping them get out of bed, and then maybe going to bed a little bit later than they normally do. If they're normally like a 7:30, 8 o'clock go to bed, try and push that to like a 9:30, because especially on days like Shabbat, when we've just done Havdalah, it'll be very, very late at night. And yes, we want to get those kids to bed, but we still have our traditions of waiting to see the 3 stars in the sky before we can do Havdalah. And then we want to hear about all the amazing things the kids have done this during the week, and then watch our amazing recap video to see all of the extra amazing fun things that everyone has done at camp before going to bed. So practicing the wake up and the going to bed as camp gets closer so they can start adjusting to it. Kim, yes.
If you have younger kids that have a hard time falling asleep as early as most younger kids do, I have a young night owl, and are they allowed to like read with a flashlight or something quiet for a while, or is there a strict lights out?
Yeah, so a lot of our cabins will have like flashlight time. The only thing that they'll ask is when they create cabin rules together, one of the things will be respecting each other. And so it would just be if you heard someone say, "Can you turn your flashlight off?" That's when it would like be like, "Okay, yes." But if they
If
have like
anything that
really
works, can you let me
small,
know, because I'm living
yeah,
early in the home. So
yeah, yes, I'd say if
I've
you
been
have
working
like
on it for 9 years. It's
yeah, so we flashlight time, we always recommend reading. I know some staff do meditations with all of their cabins to also help relax their bodies and help them go to sleep. So we'll certainly work on a system. Maybe they're in a little bit of a different corner, so their flashlight isn't as bright around everyone else. They can certainly come up with a system for that. That's amazing. Another thing with sleeping is talk with your kid about how they're going to be in a cabin with other people. They're not going to be in their home, in their bedroom, in their bunk. So the bed's probably going to be uncomfortable for those first couple of nights. And they're going to be hearing lots of different noises. People are going to be snoring. Some people talk in their sleep. Some people have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night a lot. So maybe that bathroom door is opening and closing a lot throughout the night and the light is on. So just talking about maybe working with creating little sounds, or if they want to have earplugs, we have earplugs at camp that we can give them, or you can bring them so that can help them. Just helping prepare them as much as possible to be in a space with other people than what they are normally used to.
Yeah, I'm doing it again. Y'all, brilliant. She's brilliant. Importantly here, anything like I hope this is we talked about in our previous call that Ruthie and I did around like what campers need to know or be ready for camper readiness night. But any of the skills that we talk about, like going to sleep in different environments, you can practice at home. And maybe it's not at home, maybe it's at grandparents or special friends' house without you there, right? Maybe you're putting on a light more than you usually do, less lights, more sound. All of these things are things that you can practice before camp and would behoove you to do if you know that something is particularly sticky. If you want ideas, I do this for a living. I'm happy to give you some thoughts. And I'm sure Ruthie is as well. She's great too. So practice. You know what your kiddo might want support in, and we can help support too.
Yeah, the cabin is such an amazing space. I just remembered so many more things I wanted to tell you all. So one, packing. Pack with your kids so they know where all of their things are when they come to camp. Say, I have packed you 4 shirts. They are right here. Here's where your bedding are. Here's where your underwear is. Here's where your laundry bag is. Do not bring anything that is of value because we don't want anything getting lost or go missing, end up in the trash, anything like that. We don't want anything to go missing. Bring clothes that if your kid were to roll around in mud, you'd be okay with it and it like not showing up back at home. I'd say pack old clothes that you're okay with not getting back. It's my biggest tip for that. And showering. There's going to be so many people in your cabin. And some cabins have 2 shower stalls, some have one. So there's a lot of sharing going on. And so, with the amount of time that we have during shower hour, may mean that your normal 15-minute shower that you take at home I need to be like a 5-minute shower taken here at camp. I've got a question. There's going to be anywhere between 8 to 14 kids in a cabin, plus 2 to 3 counselors. So, working with your kids on taking quicker showers doesn't mean they need to wash their hair every day, but definitely washing their body. Maybe they say every Wednesday is the day I'm going to wash my hair. If you, as the parents, are okay with that, we can make sure that the counselors also know that only on Wednesday is hair washing day, and everyone else is just body washing day. Zach, did you want to?
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody understands that in each one of our cabins, the showers are completely private.
Yes.
There is both like a screen door and then a curtain that goes around it. I'm pretty sure that's in every single cabin at this point. And so I didn't hear that yet, and I just am eager to make sure that parents know that even in a shared space, there are absolutely opportunities and encourage for privacy.
Yes, absolutely. That is a great question.
Yes.
We, you know, as everyone gets dirty at camp, you know what? Our counselors are amazing. They know how to make these kids shower. I have heard from parents who are like, my kid doesn't shower at home, but somehow they shower at camp. I don't understand. These counselors say such magical words that these kids are like, I want to take a shower and I want to be the first person in the shower to prove to you that I can be clean. So our counselors are great. Let me see, make sure I didn't miss anything. So we have a scheduled shower time in the schedule. So we know that that is when they need to shower. So if we tell the kids to shower, they will most likely know that it's time for them to shower. And they'll do a quick rotation to make sure the same kid is not always going first and the one kid is not always going last. I think that's all of my things for camp. So now I'm going to open it up to everyone to ask all of your wonderful questions that you might have about camp. And no question is a bad question or a silly question. All questions are the best. Yes.
Quick question. I know you talked about medications. If you have a last minute thing, like your kid gets strep throat right before you leave and they're on an antibiotic, or I don't know what happens if they get strep throat there or something like that, you need an antibiotic. What is the protocol? Would you send kids home? How do you get them bubble wrapped meds if it's last minute?
That is a great question. And we totally know last minute things happen. So your kid gets sick right before camp. One, we ask that you keep them home until they are not contagious so that we don't get everybody sick. Two, send them with their meds. The nurses can bubble pack those. For kiddos that get sick at camp, we have a few nurses on staff. We'll have anywhere between 2 and 3 nurses on staff at any given time with days off and everything. Then we have a rotating visiting doctor, so there'll be doctors there. We also have a doctor who does telehealth for us. Dr. Bloom is a pediatrician based out of Tacoma, camp parent, does telehealth for us. We can also strep test kids at camp. We hoard tests. So your kid gets strep, we give them the test, it comes up positive. Dr. Bloom can write a prescription. We send it to the local pharmacy. We get it filled. Those don't need to be bubble packed. Those are like few and far between and like small, like for a few day meds. Our big concern is when camp starts, we have anywhere between 275, 350 kids coming to camp. If even half of them take meds, that's really the big concern. I'll also share with you, just so there are no surprises, this year we have a wonderful woman named Lynn who is going to be our medical coordinator. She will have just finished her first year at at med school. She is a camp alum. She will be the one communicating with you, right? She'll be the one, hey, Joey wasn't feeling well. We're giving him a strep test. We'll call you when we have the results. Hey, Joey does or does not have strep. If you want to speak to the nurse or the doctor, you can request that, and then Lynn will give you their availability. So they will have a few hours within the day that they can do the phone calls. The reason for this is we know everybody wants to talk to the nurse or the doctor. We get that. But the more time the nurse and doctor spend on the phone with parents, the less time they have to see kids. And so this allows our infirmary to move more smoothly through campers. Also, Lynn can help parse out who's sick and who just kind of needs a hug and goes to the infirmary because they need a Band-Aid and a hug, which is such a real thing. I also saw some transpo questions. So for Rookie Week, we will have a bus to and from Seattle. For Bellevue, those families take the Mercer Island bus.
All right, Heather.
I have a quick question. My kiddo did the Bissell weekend, which she loved, was so fantastic. But I wasn't sure, can you remind me, is it a good idea to send a fitted sheet and and the sleeping bag? Is that what I just need to make sure I pack the right stuff. Yeah.
Yes, that is
Best practice even.
Yes, because this way, if don't want the sleeping bag, they at least have a sheet on the mattress. But I think that is the perfect and best way to go at camp is a sheet and a blanket, not a blanket, a sleeping bag and a pillow.
If I have personally leveled up to sheets at camp, but that was recently for me. I think either are appropriate. And if they are at an age to go on the camping trip, which it looks like, I don't know, that's like, correct me if I'm wrong, would be like fifth grade?
Yeah, I have
Um,
a like second grade. She's in second
yeah,
grade
We
now,
got
so
Then
it.
you
she'll
get
be
to
a
yeah.
choose. Yeah, great question.
Great question. Yes. Amanda and Phil.
Oh, thanks. Also, a transportation question. We live south of Portland in Corvallis, Oregon. If we were going to have our daughter take the bus, one of those Portland buses is the thing to do? Okay.
So yes, just again zooming out, we offer transpo from what we call our hub cities.
Okay. So if we can get there, then
Exactly.
great.
Also, I forgot to mention before, we do help with transportation from Spokane. So those cities that I mentioned, that's where we have critical mass of campers. If you live in like the greater area of a city, again, the expectation is you'll take the bus from there, with the exception of like, if you live in Tacoma, we're not going to make you drive to Seattle to go down to Tumwater, Olympia. You can just drive straight from Tacoma to camp.
And for pickup, are we going up pickup all the way at camp, or is there a bus back to Portland?
We're bussing them.
Oh, okay. Is there a chance then for us to ever visit camp and see it?
There is, I'm going to be again zooming out and just radical transparency.
Yeah.
Drop off day is so
Oh, I know.
hectic.
Yeah.
And when we have so many buses plus parents, and the parents don't want to leave because they want to see everything. We love you, parents. We love when you visit, but like it's chaotic, and we are really trying to keep it simple this year. And that is why
Sure.
we are so pushing the bus. That said, we do men's camp, we do women's camp. Parents, I would love to see the moms or mother identifying folk at women's camp, and Snyder as the only male identifying person at our staff. I don't know, right on this call, I don't know if he goes to men's camp, but if he does, he'd love to see the father identifying folk at men's camp. We have family camp. There are so many opportunities for you to come to camp. Registration for women's and men's camp is open.
You didn't
Join
know that
us.
you were getting the spiel, but you got the spiel. Yeah, but family camp
It was all a setup.
is
Yeah.
so great. It's one of my favorite things that we do. I see another hand. Is that Ariel?
Yeah, I was just wondering, as far as the melatonin goes, she's very attached to a specific type of melatonin gummy. So are there going to be options on the melatonin? How does that all work?
I am going to encourage you, and also wave at your child who I spent some time with at Thistle. I'm going to encourage you to experiment with non-gummy forms. We don't do gummies.
It seemed like gummies were kind of a
at
no-go.
camp. Really, two reasons. One, I have yet to find a kosher certified gummy vitamin, which gummies were a kosher camp, and gummies would need to be kosher. And two, it's a sticky, icky mess.
Yeah.
And we don't like sticky, icky messes in the infirmary. So I am going to strongly nudge you towards pill forms and experimenting with those in the time between here and camp.
All right, deal.
Thank you. And you'll get to see the bog this summer.
At Bissell, I led some kiddos deep into the bog that we have. That's not a bog; it's a wetland. It was a very, very muddy experience, and it was so cool. And we get to do it this summer too.
Wow, we start wrapping everything up. Please, if more questions pop up, please don't hesitate to keep putting them in the chat or raise your hand or just unmute yourself. I want to go back to forms, as forms are going to be done or going to be need to be completed very, very soon. So please start thinking about them. We have a pre-camp social and emotional form for you to fill out with your child so that we can hear directly from them the things that they want, how their counselors can help them have an amazing, successful summer. And I just say the more information you provide, the better. If you write a paragraph, write 2 more paragraphs. We want to know everything about your kid so that your counselors can help them in any situation or scenario that comes up during the summer. I also want to give you all a heads up as you are first time families that I am going to be reaching out to all of you over this month and a little bit into May to talk with you one-on-one a little bit more. So if you have any questions after this call that comes up, just know that you're going to be hearing from me very, very soon to talk a little bit more about camp. And I'm seeing some questions. So forms are due May 31st. There we go. Thank you, Sherry. Forms are due May 31st, but we always suggest them to be done earlier. We do have an airport shuttle bus for any kids who are flying into camp. There are just some specific times that we would like for them to arrive at camp so we can get our group of kids all together instead of making multiple trips. And the packing list, what a great question. We love a packing list.
It's in the parent. So you are going to get an email shortly. Sorry for cutting you off, Ruthie. That has, we call it the parent cheat sheet. Basically, Sherry and I took what was once like a 60-page handbook, and we have whittled it down to 1 page with links for more information and places that you need. 3 pages, sorry. With links to places where if you want more information, you can get more information. On that cheat sheet is a link to our packing list. So that will be coming shortly. I also wanted to add 2 more things to the forms. If you did the forms for Bissell, you've done them. You're good. Yay, you. No more forms.
I will not hassle you anymore if you've got them done. I promise.
And 2, sometimes families fill out the social and emotional form, and then something new bubbles up, but they've already done the form. Please give us that information. We don't take lightly the fact that you are trusting us with your child for 1, 2, 3.5 weeks. That is a long period of time. And it is so much easier for everybody when we can be proactive instead of reactive. So if you do the forms and then something new bubbles up and I don't know, your kid sees chicken nuggets and starts clucking like a chicken or whatever it is, call us, email us, let us know so that we know how to handle that situation and we're not standing there super surprised and confused. The more we know about your kid, the more we can set them up for success. And that's really important to us.
And at this point, I want to jump in for a moment. I am the one who answers the general phones and the email. So if you email summer@campschechter.org, you are going to get me. Anything you send me that needs to go somewhere else, I make sure the right person gets it. I will let you know that I have sent it to the right person. I also want you all to know that I'm a mom and I have been in your shoes. I am the mom that had a child that literally I turned my back for a moment to get his luggage on the bus and he was already gone. Didn't even want to say goodbye. So I know how it feels to have your child go. And if you're getting nervous, call me. I'll talk to you as a mom. No question is too small. No concern is too large or too small. These are your children. Call me, email me. If you are emailing during summertime, if you are emailing or calling between 9 and 5, even if I don't answer, you will have a response from me that day. If it's after hours, you still probably will get an answer that same day. My goal is to
She
be
is
as
that good.
my goal is to be as responsive to you as I can so that you are reassured that your child is fine.
Thank you.
Beautiful way. Yeah, Lucy, take it away.
I'm gonna share oh, they didn't share very well. I shared my email, Amanda's email, and Sherry's email. If you have any questions about camper care, the meds, transportation,
So much.
anything else camp related, I have put our emails here. I'm gonna stop the recording.